1. Hey guys, this is Dean Tedder with the Two Party Podcast. I'm on here with Aaron Johnson, who is a producer, director, writer. There's so many to list, Aaron. I'm not sure I could you just keep going. And then Mariah, who is also a professional in the medical field as well as an actress. And she's one of the actresses on the show. So welcome to the show, guys. And, it doesn't matter to me who wants to start first, but let's dive into you guys' background. So I give the platform to one or both of you guys to kind of to go ahead and tell about yourselves.
Ladies first. I'll let you go, Mark.
There you go. There you go.
I was gonna say, Aaron, please. He's got such an amazing story for such a young person in the industry. Lady never tells her age, but I've been in the industry for quite some time, so it's very impressive to hear Mr. Johnson's what he's accomplished thus far at his age, let alone what his goals are. So thank you for allowing me to go first. But I am, let's see, what do you want to know? I've been in film and television since I was about 11, and I've been teaching, writing, producing, directing, and I got to a point in my career where it was a lot of travel, and I got to see the world. I went to 52 countries on a world tour. I went to an arts conservatory in New York, and then I starred in Broadway shows. I was Sandy and Grace on the Broadway National. I was also in Footloose.
Very cool.
That took me to about, like I said, 52 countries as a magician's assistant. So at a young age, I got to see a lot, but I wanted kids and I wanted, roots. So I came home and I started hosting educational DVDs as like an infomercial host for plastic surgeons. And I got with a plastic surgeon who I still work with 15 years later, who said, you don't just speak this, you're kind of good at it. We should maybe think about, you should maybe think about it. And so I am now finished. I'm a biomedical engineer. I own my own cosmetic surgery center, and now she works for me. So
Wow.
So it was quite a journey. And so I have, as a teacher, artist, director, I also do talent development. So my son, who is 8, check him out at Maxwell_the Fox.
And he's super talented. I've looked at some of the stuff that he's in. He's super talented.
Yeah, he just we have a new Stanley Presents series that's coming out, as well as 4 books that I wrote that were written for him. That he will be starring in. So I was so busy working on his career, and his manager sent me an email and said, "Hey, would you put yourself in front of the camera again?" And I honestly was like, I mean, I hadn't thought about myself that capacity for quite some time.
We get caught up in our lives and our professional careers, and we get caught up in the real world. We really get caught up in our family and in the love and the people surrounding us that we want to help succeed. That sometimes we put ourselves on the back burner.
Yeah. So his manager was like, "Listen, there's this show filming in Miami, and this has got like this part has you written all over it." And so I literally I have to be totally transparent. You'll learn that about me. I waited to the last minute. I cried. I had my 17-year-old daughter sit me down and say, "Mom, what the hell are you doing? Come on, really?" And I was like, "I'm old, I'm fat, I haven't been on camera." No, and she was like, "You need to suck it up, sit down, do the tape." And my husband actually came in and was like, "This is you, just do you." And I did. And I got a contract from Aaron 24 hours later. And
That's huge.
So,
That's, we don't always hear every story about every actress or every actor or even producers, and you don't hear the start. And that's why it's great to have you guys on the show to share your stories, because we don't always get to hear that. We don't always get to hear where everybody got their start from. And that to me is amazing. And then the story where within 24 hours, you guys are linked up and we now have what I consider to be a potential hit series.
Mhm.
I think that's just amazing. So Aaron, tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, so first, thank you so much for having me on the show once again.
For
My
sure.
name is Aaron Avont Johnson. I'm an international award-winning writer and director from Miami, Florida. I started my film production company at the age of 9 years old. From then on, God has opened up many doors moving forward. So I've been, blessed to be honored along the likes of Harry Belafonte, Bishop Jakes, Sidney Poitier, and other pioneers in the industry. I've got to work with, major production companies on several different projects, whether it's film or television. Most recently, it was working with the Wendy production company on a few different projects we had going on over there. More recently, my feature film Lost had went over to London.
Mhm.
We were nominated for 4 awards over in there, London. We brought back 2, so that was
That's
awesome.
huge. And I was reading that just before we got on the show. I was reading that. That's huge. Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you. So we brought back 2 awards. So Lost, you can stream it on basically anywhere: Apple TV, Tubi, Walmart, Target, wherever you go to get movies or DVDs, you can stream it. Yeah, from then on, wanted to continue still working and, pushing out everything and pushing out content and, Predestined a role. So I'm super excited that we get to talk about it with you on today. So yeah.
What started, okay, so everybody has a vision, as a director, a writer, no matter what it is, even actors and actresses to do scripts have to have a vision and something in mind to really play and get into the part of this. So what was it for you that made Predestined, and what was it when the idea of Predestined came about, where you just had this vision of where this was going to go?
Right. So with Predestined honestly started off with like a scene in my head.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's almost like I knew I wanted to do like, a musical and wanted to do something, more so church themed because I
Mm-hmm.
hadn't done anything like that as of yet. But it was just like a random scene playing in my head, and I was like, "Oh, this story seemed interesting. Oh, where can I
Yeah.
go with this?" Oh, so I further developed it, and I was just like, "You know what? The story's nice, but what if we make it a musical?" So
Right.
that's when I partnered with my brother, and we started working on the songs. And actually, Mariah, she's on one of the songs on the track, which
Very cool.
everybody will hear within the series. So yeah, we partnered, we made it a musical, and then just on then it was almost like a snowball effect. Things just kept moving and moving. So
As I go through, I was looking earlier at the media kit, and obviously it gives a little description of things, and it basically names this. It says about the series, and then it names it as an urban musical series about a preacher's kid turned R&B sensation. And what I love about this is that you are able to utilize, and there's been many shows over decades. I mean, I remember growing up, we had Fame and all these different cool shows that we all remember growing up that were musical, and they were fun when you were young. You danced around your house, fought with your siblings, and that was what it was. But what I really grasped and thought was really cool about this was the fact that we need more of this. We need more of these musical talent, Broadway schemed shows and movies that bring back the talent. I think we've come to a point in our society where we slowed down, really focusing on our talents and what the drama, the arts, the theater brings to us, and the healthy, I guess the healthy avenue it leads down for some people in success. And so that's what caught me the most is when Mariah had mentioned this is a musical. I thought that is the most awesome thing, that you're bringing a series that's a musical.
right.
And I mean, was that really the original plan, or was that kind of like you were like, no, I guess let's just make it a musical, or was that like the whole time you were thinking it should have both, or that kind of came along later?
You know what? That came eventually. It wasn't too far from
Okay.
the idea, but it came eventually. And honestly, I don't talk about it a lot, but I do have like theater background. So like the whole performing, on stage and having to sing and very big and very musical. I was like, that was something else that I also thought would be kind of fun to do. So I was like, that was just something, additional that I was just like, that can make this show very unique. But yeah, I definitely agree. Musicals, they just hold a special place in everyone's heart. They are so enjoyable to watch, and they are so heartfelt. But the music just adds like another layer. It's just like the cherry on top of the film. So,
and Mariah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, as like I have a degree in musical theater.
Yep.
I've done a lot of true musical theater. What is so amazing about Aaron's vision with this project is what this generation has seen as musicals with, let's say, Disney and Descendants and High School Musical. It's all kitschy and great that they are adding that artistic like musical. But what Aaron has done is what I was taught, which is when a traditional musical is done, it's a lot of them are very deep and
it needs to tell a story,
and it's emotional. It's not always fun, and it's not. I mean, some of them are gutting and heart wrenching, but that's what makes them intense and beautiful. When you talk about classics like Phantom of the Opera and Les Miserables, it's about something that's real and deep, and the music can touch your soul based on the fact of its depth of story. It's not what this generation has really been introduced to in the musical genre. So Aaron hasn't just brought us like a kitschy, it's an urban musical, it's so much more because of the depth of the writing and the story. And then all of a sudden it's like this gutting adventure and journey that it's on, and the music just heightens that. So that is the thing that about Aaron's like vision that is so, it's not just unique and new and fresh, but it also has ties to original like musical theater, church.
Bringing back the arts in general, which I love.
So, it's a lot deeper.
Yeah, and so Mariah, when you first got your script and you were like contemplating doing this and in tears about it, and what was when you found out? I mean, did you know immediately that it was going to be a musical, or was that kind of like an afterthought? And then when you got that, like, oh my gosh, I may have to sing, was that like a?
First of all, that I thought it was opposite. I got that it was a musical, and I got her description, and I was like, okay, well, if I'm not afraid to sing. That part is okay. 50,000 people, belt it out. I'm okay.
You've done it, yeah.
I'm good. What I didn't necessarily know I could connect with is that it was R&B specific, and the fact that she, as a character, Tina, my character, has such an incredibly difficult journey to portray, that I was more afraid of the musical end of it not being enough, if anything, for her. Like, to me, she goes through such a harrowing journey that I would have almost wanted more, but that's where my roots are.
Yeah. But well, and if the series goes on, I'm assuming she would get more. and I know a little bit about what we talked about. And again, I don't want to, this is totally up to Aaron Avont Johnson's, side and his people to decide what gets revealed pre-release. So I'm not going to divulge that. I'm leaving that completely. Anything you guys want to discuss about or maybe give as teasers, definitely you guys can do that. Myself, what I know about it, I don't want to say anything that might give away anything. But what I will say is that the storyline, to me, what I have heard so far is amazing. I think it's going to be, I think it's really going to catch on, not just with the urban crowd, R&B crowd and stuff, but I dig this stuff. I dig drama. I did, I'm not bragging at all by any means because I can't, but when I was younger, my mom put me in theater, and I did a little bit of arts and acting and stuff when I lived out in Oregon and Eugene and Springfield and out in California. And so she was always busy working 3 jobs. So she's like, you got to go, and you're going to go do a drama at the event center. And I'd go down to this little thing after school, and I'd do my little drama and have a part in the play. And So I've always been interested in that. And I think it's interesting what you brought up too, Mariah, is like, you know, when you have like things that people nowadays maybe don't relate so much to, is like an operatic feeling, that emotion. You don't get that where you can go to an opera and there's literally nothing going on but voice, sound, and singing, and you still get so deep into the point of emotion where you almost are crying. And I think that's the important thing that I'm sure we're going to see here, is that the music is going to bring out the emotion of what's going on in the series. And I think that's important, an important tie-in, not just for the dynamic of what it is and the vision that Aaron has, but I believe that that's probably what's going to drive it to be popular.
Yeah, I also think too, in the climate that we're in, Aaron went out of his way to send a message without sending a message, which I think is brilliant. It's a message of go home, go back to your roots, understand the truth of what's really important.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that now, in light of, you know, this crazy stuff that's going on, I think it's not just beautiful, but I think it'll help to enlighten a few people
Mm-hmm.
to the fact that, well, wait a minute, you know, kind of brings the message, you know, let's
We
look
have
at.
to find our center, is, you know, and I'm a Christian. So, you know, as a Christian, I think you guys can relate. Mariah, I know your background. I mean, we've kind of grown up together. I know you've always been a good person. You've always had a good heart. I know where you know, your beliefs are. Aaron, I believe you're a Christian, if I'm not mistaken. And so I think we can agree on the same page as this. Our society's in a very heated climate right now, but I think when it all boils down, and you and I and Mariah, I think as Christians, or just even in people that believe in good, if you strip away the layers of what's going on in the world today and you get back to the basics, and the basics truly fall back into the one thing that I think a lot of people have forgot, which is love, which is truly, you know, obviously as Christians, our base is around God. But at the end of the day, the main thing that God teaches us is that we got to love, and not just love, we got to love each other. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't matter what background, it doesn't matter who we're all human. This is a human experience. This isn't a black, a white, a political. That's not what this is about. This is about people being able to love each other, care for each other, go through struggles and difficulties, but find a place where there's common ground and unity. And the one thing I also love about this is the one thing that I know is common ground for everyone I know, everybody. I don't really know many people that hate music. And I think we all can agree that music is always united people. Music as a whole, every genre has some sort of place where people can relate to each other, no matter what your background is. And I think that that's also another important thing. Just like Mariah said, I think you're bringing a dynamic back that helps people kind of recenter, kind of refocus themselves, get back into an area of life where, you know, what's going on around us in this media and the stuff we see in the world that's kind of negative isn't important. What's important is our family, the people around us, the people we reach down and lift up each day, where we help each other, whether it's buying somebody lunch, a meal, pay for the car behind you in the drive-through. These are little gifts of kindness that we can do. And people, you know, I'm in a position where I can use my platform with the podcast to help others around the world. We're heard globally. You're in a position to help with this, just setting an example through a series like this, offering to give potential actresses and actors jobs where they can be a part of a good process of bringing people together from all backgrounds.
Right. And you and Mariah, you guys brought up a good point. Especially with this series, it really goes to show, honestly, the root and coming back home and coming back to the basics. It goes to show love, and it also goes to show, honestly, some really deep issues that go on, you know, not just within, you know, African American community, but also within church culture. Which is something, you know, I've grown up in my whole life. And, you know, we really strip away Talia being this big star. We really kind of strip her down to we humanize her experience. And we really get to see how the world looks through her eyes, in a sense.
Right.
So, you know, she has things going on with the music and, you know, her actual career.
Her life and career.
exactly outside of, you know, the church world, and then coming back to deal with the church and coming back to deal with the place that almost broke, well, not almost, that actually broke her.
Right.
And you know, it's like a lot of lessons within lessons and then stories within stories. So
Yeah.
we have a lot of lessons on forgiveness. But we hit on a lot of topics of molestation, rejection.
Mm-hmm.
Mariah almost spoiled it a little bit, so I'm gonna bite my tongue.
I was gonna say, don't spoil too much. Don't spoil too much.
Bite my tongue. But let's just say we deal with a lot. And listen, you will have to watch the show to see.
So this impacts a lot of topics that need to be discussed.
It's
at
a lot of
the end of the day.
topics that is brought to light. And something that was very important to me with when writing and developing everyone's character was to be sure that everybody's story is told in the amount of time that I had to tell it, but I also wanted everybody's story to be very significant, almost so you can feel compassion for each character. So for example, with Tina's character, you know, I will say there's a rocky road with Tina. However, you understand where she's coming from. I feel as if even no matter the character can be the worst villain ever created, but at the core of that villain, you will always feel some sense of compassion where I don't agree with the way
you get to see the human nature even in the worst of the person.
So that was something that I definitely wanted to showcase, especially with Tina's character. So that's something that you all will see. But yeah, the show is very much getting back to basics and really taking off the Band-Aid off of a lot of things that have been covered up and really getting down to the truth of it.
That's
about
good.
Family, church, culture, just love, and just being united itself. So.
And I think that's so important right now because of many reasons. But number one, I feel like we live in a society where our cell phones and communication is not what it used to be. And I feel like open dialogue with other people and communication is just on the down. And you by a show giving an opportunity for people to have more topics to discuss and real topics that are hard to discuss. Sometimes the best growth we can get is the hardest discussions we can have. And the hardest topics. And I think by you bringing those issues up and making that something to be talked about in households, in families, or whoever's watching the show together, friends, I think that's important these days. I really do. Mariah, how do you feel about Tina's role and her ups and downs? And again, I don't want you giving away anything, but I do want to know, like was it difficult to transition into that character and go through the things that Aaron's vision needed you to go through?
Well, I'd like to say a couple things. So first, being the fact that it's considered, you know, an urban musical, I'm a predominantly African American cast. I'm humbled and honored. I was with this group of people that were 100% not just accepting of me and wonderful people, beautiful people, but strong, talented actors. And you know, it puts a lot of pressure to be the one, you know, white person.
Were you being picked on? Is that what you're trying to say? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
No, it just makes you raise to a level of as an actress. It gives
yes.
me, I'm very humbled and honored to have been chosen to be able to hold your own as an actress in that environment and be able to not be cliche and not be a stereotype. Part of being a villain, if that's what you want to define her as, to essentially, it's easy to hate.
Yep.
But part of developing a character, regardless of it, you know, however bad and, you know, whatever they do, they're not all bad.
Yeah.
Right?
You have to humanize them in some way. You have to relate in a human level.
Right. Because if not, you just hate her and everybody just, oh, well, that's the girl you hate. Cliche. Of course, we're just going to hate her. So you have to dig deep as an actress and find, okay, well, what is she truly about? What is her intentions? You know, and the bottom line, regardless of her journey, is got her own agenda. She has her own feelings, her own emotions, and her own journey that she feels she's warranted to have. And, you know, perhaps due to a past career that was either successful or not, or what she feels entitled to based on the work and effort and what she has basically let's say, sacrificed for someone else's career, it,
Mm-hmm.
you have to find those pieces, or else you'll just hate her,
Right.
right? And
Yeah.
so there are moments where it's like, do you really just hate her, or do you see, okay, well, no, I could see where that could have happened, you
Yeah.
know?
Where her perspective comes into play. Yeah.
So that took a lot of digging deep to find and be able to do in a way that was um, congruent with not being cliche and not being, but this team was so amazing.
It probably helped that you're working with some huge professionals that take their job serious and their characters serious.
And even so much as I have to give Aaron credit, even more so than I already do, as just not only his sheer genius, but he met with each of us individually as actors. And I don't know many directors. I've done a lot of work in my time. I
Yeah, they
have,
usually kind of rally everybody together, and a team is doing that.
right. So he took the time to not only go through and talk about the character development, but then once like we kind of said, okay, well, why would she do this? And what about this? Then he went in and made changes
Mm-hmm.
on the fact of like, as a woman, this is how I would have felt or dealt. And then we did it that way, which changed the perspective to being even more so of a human and not so, you know what I mean? So as a
Yep.
director, that's a very big gift for an actor to be able to have a director who's open to making it malleable and the
Hearing the feedback and the critique from the actual actors and actresses. That's pretty big. So who is? Tell me a little more about who else is on. Um, who else do we have? Actors, actresses. I've looked already at some of the cameo actors that are coming into the series, and you've got a lot of top names there.
Yeah, yeah. We were definitely blessed to have some very big names make up some
Mm-hmm.
appearances within the series. We have songwriter Neo, Cedric the Entertainer, Annalise Vanderpool. We have gospel recording artist Jacqueline Carr, Carlton Humes. We also have the Rick and Sasha show, which they're like the number one syndicated radio show. So we got them. They have a cameo within the series as well. Besides all of the other amazing, talented cast that we
Mm-hmm.
have, really pioneering this project. So it was honestly an amazing experience working with everyone on this project, and from the lead character all the way down to the extras. It was truly
Yeah.
a great experience. Especially, we shot this during COVID, so
Yeah, I thought about that. You had
and
a lot of challenges to face then.
you know what? It was challenges, but what also made it a little more challenging is that we shot it during like the peak time of Miami. So I kind of make a joke. I say that everybody else, Hollywood then tapped out, but we over here like, let's make a project during COVID. So
let's do it.
Yeah, but listen, it was nothing but the hand of God that kept everybody, because nobody has contracted COVID, and we was in production for like 3 months. So
Mm-hmm.
going into 3 months from week to week shooting, and really knocking out the series. So it was definitely different. Trying to test everybody before we get on set. Some people had to go and take a test. Others we would other we would it was just a lot of, it was very, very different.
I imagine.
Yeah.
I think every state's different, and I know how Florida was. I'm from Florida. I mean, I've heard the stories, talked to my friends down there, and we usually go vacation down there. We've just kind of not done it this year. Hopefully this year we'll be back down, but I'm sure it was hard because for a while there, you guys kind of had a lockdown.
Yeah, it was something else. It was something else, especially to my mom, and I have family that works in the medical field, so we was like really staying on top of the numbers, and there was some times we was like, we may have to put a pause to the project, because we just kept seeing situations, and it was like hitting in the areas that we were filming in. It was just like, oh my gosh. But we made it through. Glory to God, we made it through.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but it was amazing experience.
So what is, like Mariah just touched on, you being a director, producer, and a writer, and there's things you don't see, and she touched on that. There's things you don't see with working with some producers and some directors that they kind of have a vision for their project, and they're not willing to take the feedback. They're kind of have this vision. This is what they need the actors to do. They want to get the production done, and there's not a whole lot of wiggle room.
Right.
How did that? How was it for you to personally be able, like she said, to reach out to each actor and actress and kind of change things? How did that, I mean, is that just kind of one of the things that you actually, how you work, or is that just kind of like for this production, you really had to make some tweaks and changes?
Honestly, I found that to be, I mean, I'm very open in any project that I do. I'm very open to listening to my cast, especially because they're the ones that have to bring these characters to life. They have to tell the story. So even looking at the character, they may have a different perspective of the character that I've never been like the type of director that shuts down and just be like, no,
this is what we're doing.
This is what I'm doing. This is how I'm sticking to it. Like, I mean, granted, there are some moments where I really feel as if like, okay, this is like, this is how it should be, because eventually it will take us here.
Yeah.
But for an example, in the Predestined case, especially with talking with Mariah, we got on a Zoom and we was doing Zoom calls, and we'll work on the character, and I'll definitely hear her feedback of how she interpreted Tina.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I've always been the type of person, if a good idea is a good idea. So I was like, let me just, I like that. Let's work that with this character. But honestly, I actually found myself doing that a lot more with this project. And even when we got on set, things were changing all the time. I may change like a line here or something here that I, may see. I may change it on the spot. But I do feel as if being a director, it is very important to don't turn a blind ear to your cast. Especially, like I said, they're the ones that have to, even though it's your story, they have to,
they have to bring it to life.
Make it delight, they have to make them believable.
Yeah.
And then, I do believe that everybody's idea is valid, and they at least need a opportunity to be listened to. So I am very, very grateful that I really had that, that chance to do that one-on-one with all of my cast. Usually, like if I'm doing a project here based in Miami, we'll do like a lot of table reads in person, different things like that. But because of COVID,
we had to shut that right down. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to make sure that I was going the extra mile by really talking with everyone and really getting their insight, because I know that, we didn't have a chance to get on set and pre-rehearse. We didn't have it's literally like, okay, these are the lines, you catch your flight, get on set, this is what we're doing. Like, that already. So I wanted to make sure that I made everybody feel as comfortable as possible. So.
And prepared with the COVID thing, being prepared and being able to show up and do your scenes with the virtual type of preparation is probably difficult, I would assume.
Yeah.
So what are some things that we can look forward to? And I don't want to give anything other than teasers. So whatever you feel is pertinent that we could give.
I want to know, because it was so fast, why Aaron picked me to play this part.
I was getting there, but now let's put him on the spot. Let's put him on the spot.
I'm in a hot seat. Okay. So, okay, I'm trying to recall. I may be young, but my brain is old. So, okay, starting at the top, when we was going through the casting process, we gotten a lot of auditions for Tina. Tina was honestly a very sought after role. Like I was thinking that, maybe people want to audition for Talia. Like out of all of the female parts on the show, Tina was like the one we got the most submissions for. But I just feel it, going through everybody, it wasn't a connect there with the character. It wasn't a connect. I visually couldn't see it. I was just like, you know what? I don't know what we're gonna do with this Tina character. I really was like coming to like, my ends with it. I was like, I don't know what we're gonna do.
You get through so many auditions and you're like, I'm not feeling it yet.
It was a lot of auditions, and it was a lot of like disconnect with the role.
Right.
And when I remember seeing Mariah's audition, Mariah, I believe you can help me out. Like I said, my brain is old. But your audition, I think you was wearing a blue dress, right? You was wearing the blue dress. So I remember seeing, first I remember seeing a blue dress just come into frame and sitting down, and she had such a posture to her and just very like, you know, this mannerism. I was just like, I like her already. She's bringing something
Right. She's
different.
got the energy into the room to catch your attention. Yeah.
And even with the lines, just like the way she delivered the lines, oh my goodness, it was fantastic. And it wasn't just like, you know, just saying the lines. She brought a persona to Tina. She brought
the energy even to just the script.
Right, and not even knowing the character, not even really studying her, you know, not even anything. So I was just like, that is who I want right there.
That's Tina.
Box for Tina. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe we had Mariah, I think we had you audition twice. I think you sent in the audition the first time, and either the second audition was a song.
Yeah, I sent in a tape for the second thing.
Yeah. So definitely, and after hearing her sing, we was just like, oh yeah, let's cast her, let's put her in the show. It was like she's gonna make the perfect Tina. So,
and that's like I said, I was gonna ask that. I didn't want, but Mariah put you right on the spot, and I think that's great. I think that's great, and you know, and again, as a producer or director, you know what you're looking for, you know what the vision is, and I think it is important to have that. You have to have that connection with the actors and actresses you're working with, or they're just not going to be able to bring to life the vision you have for that character. Right. And obviously, you know, everybody has a different talent. And I think, you know, to grab, for lack of a better analogy or even a visual, is for me to grab my show notes and just kind of read off my show notes. But then to read my show notes with the vibrant energy kind of is a big change. And I know with when you're trying to audition for things, I know that's how it is. I remember when I was little, like I said, when I was doing drama and stuff, you go in an audition, if you want to sit there and talk like a dead fish, you're going to be probably sent right home. If you go in there and you're ready and you feel good about the part and you're energetic and you get into it, you have to put on, I guess, Mariah, probably asking you the question is, you kind of have to step out of yourself into a whole new character. I mean, at the end of the day, for the audition, even not just the part, but the audition.
I part of just so, like, I can't give myself the credit in the fact of I filmed it, I cried, and I said, this isn't it. And then my daughter, so, you know, she said, sit your butt down and do, because this you got this, whatever. And then my husband, God bless him, he was like, what are you, like, just talk like you would talk to me.
Yeah.
And he said that, and she's all business and telling and, you know, whatever it is she's saying, then I was looking at my husband like, well, let me explain that to you. And
just make it real.
I have to, you know, give credit where credit is due in the fact that my husband was like, you yell at me like this all the time.
Yeah, you can do this.
You can totally do this. and stood there and I did it, and I didn't even watch it. I just hit send. Like, I was like, my daughter, my husband, both like, that's it. You're
do
good.
It.
And here we are.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I'm sure that doesn't happen every day. You know, I'm sure there's plenty that when they audition and send these parts in, they're probably like, they do it 500 takes later, and they're like, well, maybe this is the one, you know. But
anything about her, you only got line. So I didn't know any of the developmental. I had no clue where she was going to go. So by utilizing my husband as the reader, it ended up being that it went into the right place.
That's excellent. And I think part of, I guess, and Aaron, maybe you could enlighten me on this, is part of you getting your vision there to the place where you need it, and each actor and actress that you're auditioning is also part of the audition. Like Mariah just said, she didn't have a lot of the information. So she's really in the audition just kind of creating what she feels is the character. And for you to connect to it, wouldn't you have to agree with what rendition of the character she brings to the audition?
Yeah, something that I find to be almost, I call like a little magic moment, is when, you know, a director or a producer can look at, you know, an actor or actress, you know, deliver their audition, and, you know, it may not be how you're thinking it in your head, but they bring something different, and you can really piece it together and you connect it and say, well, this is something new. I like this. Like, you know, they have brought something different. And honestly, that is something that, now that I think about it, it's kind of crazy, because everybody that actually auditioned and got casted for the show, they brought something different to to the characters that I already had in my head. So from Talia and Tina and Jason and you know, the rest of the characters in the show, they all brought something unique to the characters that I found very, you know, very, very cool. And it just helped further develop it.
I don't know how you found Chantal is.
You know what? Funny thing is,
Like,
funny,
it's like you can't imagine the diamond. Like,
she was perfect.
I mean, this young, stunning, sweet.
Yeah.
She burst out. It was like, I can tell you, from a seasoned actress to watching her development and the amount of work.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
I mean, this woman deserve. I mean, if this show, which I believe will get awards, if anybody's going to get it,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
her portrayal of Talia was so real.
Mm-hmm.
Or like, how do you play Beyonce if you're not Beyonce? Like,
Right.
Exactly.
Yep.
how could you possibly fathom that level of fame, and then that level of despair, or that level of homecoming? Like, how at your age she's just so talented and beautiful.
It was very, and funny enough, actually, her first time stepping into anything Talia was this poster right here.
Yeah.
We had did the photo shoot. We shot this photo shoot like before we even got on set. And I think we shot this photo shoot maybe like in July. And I remember, like, you know, just seeing her in, you know, the hair and the dress and everything. She was just amazing. I went to school with Chantrell. And I've always called her like baby Taraji or baby Beyonce, even from school. I was just like, she's just ridiculously talented. And I remember when I had the role, we had people audition for Talia, and I was just like, I'm still not
not channeling that character yet.
Yeah, and she was at the time, I believe, well, from the last I had spoken to her, she was away in college. So I had texted. I was just like, you know, because we had never worked together. So I was just like, hey, are you, you know, back in Miami? He's like, yeah, I just came back from college. I was like, great, I have a role I want you to audition for. And by that time, she hasn't, and which surprised me, she hasn't acted in a long time and either sung a long time. And she's like on almost every song on the soundtrack. And she had to go in the studio, she had to record the soundtrack, and then had to turn around and learn choreography for her song, which opens up the show. So that was like a whole nother process of learning how to, you know, dance in these high heels on platform stage. And we was even making changes like, no, we may want to throw you up on the bar top. So she was just like, okay, she was like, you know, I'll do it, you know, but okay. So yeah, she was fantastic. Like, you know, she really brought something. She made Talia very realistic. Just in the words of, it's the same words Mariah used, realistic, believable. Like, you can really feel like Talia is a real superstar, not even just from the glitz and the glam, but just from the smallest things that she do, the smallest mannerisms.
There's a scene, I'm not going to give too much. Everybody, I mean, we had such a brilliant cast. Like, it was, but just, we had so many obstacles that it didn't even make, like, we didn't even, it was like, we're just going to go ahead and film this perfectly right now, because we have so many other obstacles to keep everybody healthy. And
yeah,
level of professionalism by all of the cast went up by like a million. Like, it went from, like, there was no time for us to even, and one scene is in the actual executive record studio, right? The contract negotiation, it's not anything, you know, detrimental to, you know, it's just, you know, I'm her manager, she's talent, so she just had to sit there just in a wig.
Yep.
She had not one, she didn't make one sound. She just had to sit in the chair. And we all had this intense, heated debate. And Jason, who's my the head of the record company. He's an amazing actor. The executive. I mean, we're going back and forth, and just the air of
Mm-hmm.
confidence of her just sitting while
Just being present.
right while people were talking about her as if she wasn't even in the room, but still having this air. Like, how do you even teach somebody to do that? Like,
Right.
a natural, like, I'm a superstar, and it was awesome. She owned it. It was just really neat to see.
Yeah.
It sounds like you guys had a good time, and I'm gonna see if this will work for me, because sometimes it does, sometimes it don't. I'm gonna pull up real quick this screen share, and it's just literally going to show some of the media kit that you guys presented, and just some behind the scenes, just so our audience that catches some of the video, and maybe there's some stuff that stands out here between the two of you that, in some of these shots, that maybe you want to discuss a little bit.
We can talk about it.
Yeah. So I mean, again, I'm starting with just the top here, and it's probably not the best screen share. Can you guys see it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can see it. So right here at the bottom picture.
Very bottom. Yeah.
That's Talia, and one of her many wigs. She wears a lot of wigs. That's something.
Okay.
She wears a lot of wigs in this show. You can even look at the picture above that with her sitting in the studio. She's in another wig. But actually
over here, yeah, I see it.
Yeah, the middle picture was actually our very first day on set.
This one here that I'm kind of pointing at. Okay.
Yeah, that was our very first day on set. Right here, the very first picture, that's the choir. So that is.
Where was this? Now, real quick, where exactly was the main areas you guys were filming in Miami or in South Florida?
Honestly, it was really Miami Gardens.
Okay.
Miami Gardens. We honestly dabbled a little bit of everywhere.
Yeah.
But it was really Miami Gardens.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's pretty much for this page.
Okay. And then.
Oh, wait a minute. Here we go. Right here. Honestly, I have to say this, Mariah, that red jumpsuit was everything. Okay?
Right here. I think there's more. I think there's another one of it too.
That it was This is a very important scene for the show. This is like one of those. You know what I can say? I will say this. If you can remember the movie Dreamgirls, and if you remember when Effie came to when she came to try to do the show, and they already had replaced her with another girl, and it was like one big old rah back and forth with a whole bunch of. Let's say we took a lot of inspiration from that.
Nice.
So you would definitely see something like that with that. And that scene was actually shot on a rooftop, so it was very beautiful. That
I see another wig over here on the side.
That's another wig. I told you.
There we go.
She's a wig. So this is my first day of shooting, and
okay.
It happens to be, of course, this very intense. It was like, hi, how you doing? Let's be intense. Let's
yeah.
And I had my, the hair and makeup team are phenomenal, but Aaron insisted, if you can, I don't know if you can see it, but I have this power pony, this ponytail piece, and it goes way down. And I literally had like a team on just so I'd be
just
like
this portion right here that I'm pointing at.
Yeah.
Taking 2 steps, and then all of a sudden, like, because they had to like tame it, and then as I used it almost like as a weapon. It was just this like it had this whole storyline about this ponytail. It just But so her with her wigs, it was phenomenal. Every time she had a different wig, she was the same star, different persona.
Mm-hmm.
So the hair and makeup team that he works with
and it was fantastic.
So
that's amazing. So then we go down.
Yeah, we see another wig.
There's another one.
2 more wigs. I thought she wears a lot of wigs.
But I will say, like you guys have described her, and I don't know her, and I haven't obviously seen any of the show yet. But I mean, every picture I'm seeing, she looks very professional. She looks very in part, and or even behind, like while not shooting, just she looks very like focused on what she's doing.
And I will say this about the because I've gotten this question before. Everyone always asks me, well, why do Talia have so many changes in every scene? Like she's in something. I said, with this season, I honestly really wanted to play with her look. I really wanted to see what works for Talia. You know, I just didn't want to give her one solid thing. So we experimented and we had fun. So I would say,
She owns it with the experimentation and the fact that she's developing and she's finding herself. So
yeah,
Right.
different look and different persona of the same character was I think part of her journey, and it
right,
worked with both that as well as the music. So the whole thing, the whole story is essentially her finding herself. So
right.
playing with the looks and the elements and the music all kind of just tied together to make
Kind of tells her story coming along, growing into not just her part, but her character on the show.
Right.
That's
Um,
amazing.
let's see what else. Right here, down here, if we can actually see her in this jumpsuit with the short hair. Funny enough,
Yep.
I remember we was trying to come up with the look for this scene. This is for one of her performance scenes, and we shot this at a nightclub here. Well, we shot at a nightclub in Hollywood, Florida. Um,
Hmm.
it's called Spice Resto Lounge, and I remember trying to come up with this look because this is supposed to be like a real, you know, the song she's singing is very sexual. It's very sensual. You know,
Right.
it's something you're going to throw on in your bedroom and turn the lights off type of music. So I remember, you know, us coming, you know, trying to come up with, you know, her look for this particular scene, because this is like technically the very first thing we see her in. And we had took inspiration from it was a performance Beyonce did at, I believe it was the MTV Awards. She performed a song called Drunken Love, and she had like this very like short bob, kind of wet.
Mhm.
Granted, Beyonce was wearing a, you know, more revealing clothes. You know, we had to keep it
Right.
a little, you know, PG. You know,
Yeah, exactly.
you know, you know. But I remember we took inspiration from that, so that's kind of how we came up with that look. If we go down here to the here, this is a very, very heated scene right here that you are seeing at this table. Very, very heated. I can't tell you what the scene is about, but just know this is a
Yeah, don't give anything away.
to the left, this is actually Claudine. So she was the makeup artist and wardrobe stylist for the show. And that was our very first day of filming as well. That was our late night shoot.
Very
So
cool.
it's very cool looking back at these photos.
And
It's
here's back at this scene as well.
yeah,
And I think so. We got this one.
yeah. This is the award, one of the screen grabs from her accepting the awards from you know, the Yanti Awards, which is like our version of like the Grammys.
Okay. And then look who's in the studio over here.
I know, you see her at the mic.
Uh-huh.
I said she's
Uh-huh.
recording fire. Mariah was recording some fire at that mic. Yeah, this was our studio time. Actually, the first two pictures, these were Chantrell. She's the actress that plays Charlotte. This was her very first day in the studio.
Okay.
Um, if I'm recalling correctly, I believe I am. This was her very first day in the studio recording the opening song. We have Mariah at the mic recording, honestly, one of my favorite pieces in the whole entire show, which you guys, I just can't wait for you guys to see it. If we go down, now this is where things get a little interesting. I have a little funny story to tell. So to the first picture, if you see this young man, he plays a character in the church, in the choir. And he, let's just say, everybody's going to be very surprised when they hear what he has to bring. That's all I will say.
Okay.
Voice is fantastic. Then we have these three ladies here. This is the first picture. It's almost like a family affair. First picture is my aunt. Second picture is my other aunt, and then this last picture is my mom. Funny enough, they had a gospel group back in the 90s. And when they had a gospel group back in the 90s, they were actually called Predestined. I actually named the show after them. So
Nice.
they ended up kind of like going their, you know, their separate ways a little bit with the group. But I remember, you know, doing the show, I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna call it Predestined. I had no idea I was gonna bring them back for a reunion, but they actually come back for a reunion. They not only sing the Predestined theme song,
They
but I
play a
said,
part then.
yeah, I said,
Oh, that's huge. That's
yeah,
huge.
I said, I actually want you guys to perform. So they have a very special performance at the end of the season, which you guys will see. But yeah, they had an amazing gospel group, and they come back with some fire music. Oh my goodness! Like when you hear the theme song, it's out of this world.
That is awesome. Now I'm like the more I'm hearing from both of you guys, the more I'm like waiting on this. This better drop tomorrow or something.
Yeah, I know. It's dropping in April, so April 2021. Everybody will be able to see the series, and these are our special cameos that we got for the series. So yeah.
Yeah, and we know, I mean, I think all of us would know these names. Most of the audience, we got Brett Gray, Neo, Cedric the Entertainer. You go further down, we got Annalise Vanderpool, you got Jacqueline Carr, and you got Carlton Humes. And I think, I think everybody would know those names. One more I want to talk about, and I had it pulled up, and I'm going to get off the screen share in a second because I don't think we really need it, but I do think it's important to share. Devontae
Yes,
Skills.
definitely.
Tell us about Devontae Skills and where his the music direction that he gave and his perspective. Give us a little bit of insight on him.
Yeah, I'm actually I'm gonna let Mariah speak on her experience working with Devontae as well.
Perfect.
He is by far, he's not, and I don't say this because he's my brother, but I actually say this. He's like by far one of the most musically inclined geniuses that I've ever met in my life. He spearheaded this soundtrack, and I remember sitting, what we would do while we were going through development with the script, I would sit with him and we would have to match the song with the scene. So I remember one of the more complex songs was actually what the song that Mariah is on, and that was a very, very complex song, believe it or not, because you have so many different elements to that song. You have a lot of different voices going on, and you still have to convey a story in the midst of trying to, in the midst of trying to sing a song. And it's not really singing. It's like it's singing, it's rapping, it's rap talking, it's sing talk. It's a lot of stuff going on. But I remember sitting down with him and we would have like late night sessions. We will be going through the script, going through the music. We'll spend like countless of hours just going through it. And I mean, his mind, how he works is just ridiculous. I've always said you would not hear, we have a wide range of music with this soundtrack. We have contemporary gospel, we have trap, we have hip hop, we have alternative, we have inspirational. We have a lot, like a wide range to the soundtrack. And I mean, the way he wrote these songs, this show could not be what it is without the music. And music is a whole other character by itself. Like the music just brings a whole nother persona to it. And just even though he's my brother, but it was just an honor, honestly, sitting down with somebody who's just so musically in tuned. It really blew my mind. Mariah, what was your experience?
I mean, where do you begin? Devontae, he's like first, like you meet him first of all, they're like identical. They look.
I was just gonna say, like, are you sure it's not you kind of hiding out, looking like him? Because you guys look exactly alike.
I get that all the time.
So that first of all, they're adorable and identical, and he is so humble and sweet and like passive and funny, and just like as a person, he's this beautiful. And then all of a sudden, you open this door to this. I don't even want to say like Pandora's box, like just a music box. Like this music that's in this show is not just the whole fact that it's not one genre is like really hard to describe.
Right.
Imagine one mind. So when you think about a composer, right, or any sort of writer, you have like like a Sondheim or somebody that has like a sound to their music that you can recognize their stylistic interpretation by the way they write. He almost does it opposite and switches his stylistic interpretation to what needs to be written, which is
right.
Like what? Like your brain.
That's difficult.
Yeah, like yes, he has a sound when he does his thing, but when he needs to do what he needs to do for whatever that is, he's done it. Like all of a sudden, this big giant choir, and all of a sudden it's this intricate patter rap battle, and then it's this power ballad, and then it's all of these things are these nuances of music that it's almost like you can't give him enough credit because of how inventive and creative and outside of the box he thinks. It's really brilliant. It's like sheer brilliant. But as a singer, I can tell you that I talked to him on the phone, sweet. I had to do all of this virtually. So they had their studio in Miami. I'm here in the Tampa area. And I was like, I'm going to rap, which and then I'm going to find a way to make this my own, and power pop ballad and aggressively softly, like it was this a little bit overwhelmingly like thought process for me,
Yeah.
because you're kind of you're hard on yourself, you want it to be right, and there
And
was
and you need the lesson, you need the coaching, and yet you're virtually challenged by not being able to jump in the studio with him and work.
right. So his notes to me were, I think you're super talented, I've written it this way, I want to see what you can do with it, go. Like that's pretty much what I got. And I had him virtual in the studio, and I sang it probably, I don't know, 20 different, 30 different ways.
Right.
I was like, oh, then she does this, and then she does this, and then she does, and he's like, you have opened my mind. What did he say? You have opened my mind to a new way of this line being sung.
Right.
Like when, so it was like, you
So
have the,
you opened up more creativity in him.
right,
You took what he was already creating, and it made him like, I can create more with this. This can go
right,
deeper.
right. And I'm sure all the other singers would, attest to that. Like as he's like literally writing the song while you're recording it, while you're learning it, and then all of a sudden changing a nuance that changes the dynamic, that changes
Mm-hmm.
the emotion. I
Yep.
mean, the level of brilliance for these two young men is really just unbelievably it's just outstanding. It's really difficult to describe, but very cool to be part of.
Now, has anybody seen you guys outside, yeah, like together? I mean, because I'm trying to confirm that you guys aren't the same person.
Mariah has on.
Okay, we have a witness. We have a witness. Because I was just gonna say, man, it sounds like you and your brother kind of work from the same. I mean, obviously, coming from the same family, kind of work from the same dynamic of the way you visualize things. Like what I just heard from Mariah explaining how he sees it, and then he's allowing the singer to help develop what his vision is, which is exactly coincides with you as a director letting the actors help form what your vision is. And I think that's cool that the both of you as brothers do kind of work the same way in your fields.
Yeah, it was honestly, it was a great experience working with my brother. And he not only just like wrote and produced the music, but even on set he did the choreography for the choir. So that was another aspect, working with the choir and giving them all these steps and dances they have to do to the music and everything. Now, granted, he's still my brother, so we definitely had our days.
I was gonna say sometimes it's hard to work with brothers and sisters,
We had our days. We had our days where
that's one of those other challenges you were talking about.
Oh yeah, and, we had to have a come to Jesus meeting.
There you go. There you go.
Center ourselves, and we couldn't let everybody else know what was going on, but we had creative differences. Creative differences when it came down to certain things. But all in all, it definitely worked out, and he's just a pure genius. I mean, he's just a pure genius. I mean, he even threw me in the booth, so I'm like doing like a lot of the backgrounds on like a whole bunch of songs. So
that's great. That's great. And I do a lot of stalking on all my guests. So I mean, just so you guys know, I stalk everybody. I know that's illegal in Florida because I used to live there, but I stalk all my guests. One of the things that popped out when I was reading some of the media pack, but then also researching you, Aaron, was and I'm just going to throw the name out, Funk Master Flex.
Yeah.
Tell me where does that all play in? Because I am an avid, I listen to every kind of music. People look at me like I'm crazy. Every day I wake up, I listen to something different, but I really grew up with my heart and soul was always in hip hop and rap and Funk Master, somebody I used to listen to, as well as the old school hip hop. And I mean, I still listen to the old school hip hop. My son, he's 12, he jumps in the truck with me. I'll throw on some crazy Pandora and put on some hip hop. And my son's like, what in the heck is this stuff? These kids these days don't know. They just don't know. But tell me a little bit about how that came about with Funk Master Flex. I've got to know.
Yeah, so this was during a time when I was working with Kevin Hunter over at his production company after I was working with Wendy. And There's not too much I can go into detail about it,
Mm-hmm.
but I did have an opportunity to write some things for Mr. Flex, and that was a good experience. So
That's
yeah,
so awesome. That's so cool. Yeah, he's just old school hip hop, man. I love that stuff.
yeah,
And
yeah.
you
Also,
don't, and I listen to everything. I listen to metal. I listen to rock. I love the blues. My mom raised me on the blues. We used to, for my birthday every year, I used to go. My mom would take me, and she'd get tickets to BB King. He always played every year on my
okay.
birthday. So
Oh
every year,
wow.
February 11th, my mom would get tickets to the BB King show because his birthday was right in that area. I think it might even be the same day as mine. But we used to always go see BB King on my birthday. That was her present to me every year.
Oh, that's
And it was really cool because so I grew up with the blues and like my family comes from music. My grandfather was a musician. He's in the Hall of Fame, steel guitarist. It's just something that's always been ingrained in me. And I love the old school hip hop. And when I was doing my stalking, I was scrolling and I'm like, wait a minute, Funk Master Flex, hold on a second. We got to talk about this. But that's huge to have an opportunity to work with wizards like him back in the day. I mean, that dude is awesome. So you talked about April being potentially the launch for this. Tell the audience where we could get where we think at first this may be the first launch for this. Where we found? Tell us maybe a little bit about when you might release some trailers or sneak peeks at this so they could get a look at it.
definitely. So the show will be released in April. It will be available on your Apple Store, your Play Store. You'll be able to watch it on Fire TV. So Predestined will be its own app, so you'll be able to
Okay.
download it and watch it. You can also cast it and stream it on your Amazon Fire TV. The first trailer will be dropping very soon. That's what I will say.
Okay, good.
First trailer will be dropping very soon, and then in between there will be multiple sneak peeks, and then there will
Mm-hmm.
be a whole nother trailer that will be dropping
Yep.
again. So for everybody and for all of your listeners, I would say definitely go ahead and follow the show on their social media pages at Predestined the series. That's on
And
Instagram.
we'll link that up with the episode. We'll link all of that up as well so that your social media is
Awesome.
on there. And where
Awesome.
else?
You can follow us at Predestined series on Instagram, Facebook, on Twitter, also on TikTok. You can follow us on there as well. And yeah, you can just stay updated for a lot of the behind the scene exclusives that we will be dropping very, very soon.
I can't wait. I'm really excited to see some of the behind the scenes and just some of the more info. Mariah, tell us a little bit about where, first and foremost, obviously we'll be able to keep up with you with the Predestined series. Tell us a little bit more where we can find more information about you, people in the audience that want to follow you as an actress, and maybe get some more information on that. Please tell us that.
I have a couple of different places. I did Timeless Talent Development is a place that I help develop young talent. So any young or old, it doesn't matter, meaning new to the business.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of my specialty, is to introduce people into the process
Okay.
and then signed with agencies and get them placed. I will be hopefully meeting with you soon to talk about the book series and new show for my son, which is you can go to therainandmax.com. And that's very, very exciting. Let's see where else. Facebook. And I have an IMDb. I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't.
I was going to say a lot of those pop up for a lot of the new actresses or even older actresses as well. So,
I'm kind of
um,
a new old actress, I guess you can say.
reborn. We could just say reborn. I do look forward to.
We'll see.
Yeah, I do look forward to. We are definitely going to get on schedule for getting Max and Rain on. Well, I want to talk to Max. I think he's just very young, talented. Your son has just really he's got the greatest potential to start off at the age he is. I think it's amazing. And so I definitely want to get that interview going. So that'll be coming up. But I thank you guys for being here. There's one thing on the show that we discuss a lot, and I use this platform a lot to help other people. That has literally become a journey of mine. In the past, I want to say 6 years, I've really been working on my journey in life and what I can do to leave you hear a lot of people say about, what is the legacy you leave behind when you die? My legacy is every day. So every day I try to I look at and reflect back on yesterday's legacy I left behind. Who did I impact yesterday? Who did I impact today? Each day I try in my journey to help other people, no matter if it's one person, my wife, my son, somebody in the drive-thru, holding a door, smiling, giving a compliment. Those are things that I have become making habit in my life. I do it every day. And so we use this platform to kind of give help and help people get overcome mental health, suicide prevention, all these things we try to promote. Because everybody, especially after last year, the pandemic, there's such a high spike in suicide and depression. And so I like even more to use the platform to give advice and offer assistance. So I'd like to ask each of you to maybe share with the audience, maybe a moment that you had a time in your life that was very difficult to get through and how you got through it. Or if you don't relate to that, maybe just something you use daily to keep you focused and positive and help you overcome things that challenges you deal with daily. So either one of you, go ahead. Mariah, ladies first.
Ladies first.
Not to dampen the mood, but to speak to the audience and to really hopefully, if I could help any one person. So my younger brother committed suicide. He was 27, and it's been 9 years, and it's still very painful. So my message would be to anybody that's in that realm, to understand that there's always help. Please always reach out to anyone that will listen to you, friends, family, anybody, because you're not stopping pain.
Mm-hmm.
You're not stopping pain. You're only hurting the people that you love.
Correct.
A lot more than you think. What you think would be a solution to a problem creates such a landslide of other problems for the people that you love and care about. So if you do have a mental, even the thought process of it, I'll get my cell phone, call me, call. Yep. There's so many people that are out there that will listen. Please take the time to understand that your family or friends or anybody, whoever it is, does love you, and it does not fix your problems. It just hurts the people that you love. So if you're thinking of doing that, just understand that, it's something that I hope you reach out and get help for.
Yep.
The message for me to give to the whole audience would be to always, just like Aaron has sent out in a bright light message, understand that if you fight for the light, because the darkness is going to come calling. We live in a time of darkness, and God is the light. And if I hadn't had a relationship with God, my family and I would not have been able to get through the process that we did and help the people that we have and live the daily lives that we do. Understand that there's value in people and children. And if you look at God and see what we're really truly here to do on a spiritual journey, which is to learn, love, and grow, understand that that is what is supposed to get us through those times. And if it wasn't for my relationship with God, I don't know that I would have been as successfully where I am, based on that happening in my life.
Yeah.
So, just with this show and with Aaron's message and with the churches, whatever it is, just understand, go home to your roots, which is God. And I hope that helps.
And I think at the end of the day, we all got to remember no matter how desperate or depressed we get or whatever the moment we're in, we're not alone. I think what a lot of us forget, even in this cruel world, a lot of people have family that's passed away. They feel like they don't have anybody. Maybe their friends are just kind of doing things they should be doing and they recognize it and they just feel alone. We all got to remember we're not alone. There's always someone to reach out to. If it's the guy at the convenience store, if it's somebody you work with, you can always reach out. And on the reverse of that, I always on this show, I always promote, watch the red flags, ask people how they're doing. What we don't see a lot in today's society is genuine and intentional communication or conversation. Be intentional with the people you talk to. Don't just go by your employer or your employee and, hey, how you doing? How's your day? How was your weekend? Take a moment to be intentional. Listen to them, listen to their life story, listen to what is going on in their mind and their life. Sometimes just recognizing the red flags, sometimes giving somebody an opportunity to get things off their chest that way is a matter of life and death. It's literally a matter of saving their life because maybe they are alone. And then you just opening that door lets them know that you're there for them. So what do you think?
I always just try to say too is you never know what happened 5 minutes before you met that person,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I try to do that with my patients. I try to do that with my children. What happened 5 minutes ago?
Yep. Somebody could have left a domestic abuse situation, anything.
No idea. So what you're dealing with is what you're dealing with, and it needs to be a clean slate for you so that you can help them deal with whatever that 5 minutes ago was.
Yep.
In that situation.
I agree. Aaron, what are your thoughts?
Well, first, I am so sorry, Mariah. I did, condolences to your family. I can say for me, I can definitely speak on mental illness, because Lord knows I had my own battle with it. I've dealt with my own battle of, attempts of suicide and depression and social anxiety. Even social anxiety, I still deal with till this day. What I always give my advice to anyone is to know that you're not alone. And you have to, a lot of times when you are going through depression or you are going through things, you don't want to hear the sun is going to come out tomorrow. You don't want to hear there's going to be a brighter day, but it is important that you try your best to find something. It can be the smallest of things that you have to look forward to. Because if you go through life and you go through that journey, depression and mental illness, it's a dark road. It's a dark and lonely road. And on that road, there seems like there is no light. But you would be surprised at the smallest of things that can bring just a little bit joy. I don't care if that's an Amazon package coming tomorrow. That's something for you to look forward to. So, I would say definitely, make strides, for you slowly but surely giving yourself things to look forward to. But also, don't be afraid to talk to someone. Talking to someone is very, very vital. Because a lot of times, anyone that deal with mental illness, you're so really like hold things in and you kind of internalize everything and that's what makes the mental battle even worse. So don't be afraid to, talk to someone and, don't be afraid to let somebody up there. But I would say definitely, it's a journey, but it's definitely one that you can conquer.
Yep. I think I agree 100%. I think both of you are giving sound advice. We just, that's something we do on this platform. And I'm blessed to be able to have a platform that we're heard globally. And we can actually share that. I mean, we have guests that come on and we talk about their books. We talk about their creative arts, movies, shows that they're doing. And we have an opportunity to hear organically from people, intentional sound advice that lets some people know. Some people just think like they're the only ones going through life this way. And sometimes it's really good for us to have a platform to be able to share, like, look, we have successful professionals that are sharing their advice because they are just like you. We've been through it. We're going through it. And so I really appreciate you guys offering and opening up like that. Mariah, I knew your brother growing up, so I was aware of that. And again, there's no greater loss. It's my sister's husband, one of her husbands had killed himself. And, it leaves so many unanswered questions. It hurts so bad. The people around it, it's, you hear about it being just a selfish thing, but it's not just a selfish thing. It's really just destructive. It's so destructive when you have somebody who's loved, cared about, talented. They just don't know when they get in that moment of just thinking they're alone. And the mental health gets away from them. So I thank you guys for Mariah for sharing that. Aaron, thank you for sharing your advice. And I'm looking forward to April and Predestined. And please keep us posted on the trailers. Please keep us posted on all the updates. All of our audience, again, we will be sharing all of the social media platforms and links. We will have all that posted up with this episode. I will notify you guys as soon as this goes up live. And we will continue to work back and forth. And one more thing I just want to throw out there that we do on the show is we always tell the guests that you're always welcome to come back. The first time you come on is only an introduction to our audience. Now they know who you are. We always welcome our guests back. We also welcome you back on the show for future promotions. So when there's something else that changes in your life, something else comes out, Mariah, if there's a new book that comes out, stuff like that, we want to have you back on the show to promote that. We want to help you promote yourself, and we want you to help us share with the audience. And so we will invite you guys back in the future for anything. You just reach out, say, hey, I've got a new thing coming up I want to promote. you let us know, you'll be on air.
Awesome.
All right.
Awesome.
So yeah, no problem. I appreciate having you guys on here. You guys have a great day. Take care.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Dean. And Mariah, you guys have y'all a great day. Oh
Yep.
my goodness. Can't wait for y'all to see it.
I can't wait. I can't wait. April's too long.
Listen, and for post-production standards, we're like, April's too short.
Right? I know. You got a lot of work to do, but you guys have a great day.
Bye.
Thank you.
Guys.
Yep.